He's been a champion. Wunder has loved to play into tanks, taking it away for the third game in a row. As Splyce, previous games, they banned out that Shen away from Vizicsacsi. They banned out the LeBlanc in other games, and now it's gone in game 3 as well. Didn't want to deal with it after game 1.
Taking no chances on the Splyce side. They want to close this one out, give themselves a shot at that second and maybe even first seed in the European LCS Group B for the playoffs. It's all important buys if you can get them. Syndra banned away again.
So will it be the Rengar here? Will it be the Shen? And then Unicorns of Love have been banning out Lulu as the other pick that is taken away. I think I agree mostly with the Shen here. I think taking it off the board is good. When Unicorns of Love get that, they've looked like a much stronger team. Interesting, this is trying to pinch now, force Splyce to take the Rengar away, otherwise it's going in rotation 1.
Well, clearly Splyce at the minute, they might be prioritizing the Malzahar, and they do, picking it up on blue side once again as their first rotation. Unicorns pick up the Rengar here. It looks like that's the answer.
There's not that rush for the Malzahar, though. The Lulu is still available. And with the Elise off the table, the Rengar gets picked up here, and we saw Splyce struggle against Xerxe's Rengar in the previous game. Unless they have something to deal with him now. Trashy can run Gragas out of the jungle as well. But what is the Unicorns of Love going to log first rotation?
So they take the Zilean already after flashing the Rengar for a little while. We'll see if they do take their jungle choice this time around. Still 20 seconds on the clock for these Unicorns.
So Zilean was played in game 1, didn't have the effect that the Unicorns of Love really wanted, but now they've got, with the Rengar, pairing that Zilean together. Game 1 it was Ivern, it was that slower scaling, they couldn't quite find their footing, and Splyce took over.
Well, Splyce are hoping to do it again. Mikyx had a lot of flash nether grasps, able to lock down members of the Unicorns, and that Zilean was frequently the target of it. We'll have to see this time around what are the Splyce going to build for their composition. It was a difficult comp for them to pull off last time around. Maybe they'll go something more conventional here. And the Orianna's locked. One
of the first times that this Orianna has been available. So if they want to pair it with that Varus, it is up. Varus would give them a good amount of early game presence as well. I personally dislike when teams go like Orianna, Ezreal on blue side and lock themselves into a much later scaling set of carries. I quite like what Splyce are doing here in the sense of getting a decent jungle matchup when you look at the farming potential. Graves obviously does have a good amount of trading too against that Rengar.
And it's not a champion Trashy's really looked to, in all honesty. This will be his first game in the European LCS Spring Split, I should say.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised they didn't perhaps look towards the Gragas we've seen out of Trashy, but of course, Gragas is a jungler that takes some time too, and here's Chachi basically saying, play a tank, I dare you.
Come at me, bro. He gets it this time, so the Rumble makes it through for the first time this series.
Nars getting banned against Chachi, though. With Rumble available, it's likely to be a Gnar ban, but Gragas comes out as the first ban.
Yeah, Splyce still have a few of their own, but maybe the Unicorns just taking their time and seeing what Splyce is going to ban out, just in case they want to sacrifice that top lane advantage.
Do you get rid of the Caitlyn for Samux? Do you take it away, not give them that big lane bully pusher, tower pushing, and late game AD carry?
Well, we'll find out. That
was an Ahri
is an Ahri ban.
Exileh has played the Ahri.
He's played a lot of champions, though. Let's be honest here.
In fact, no, he has not played the Ahri yet on the LCS stage. And it is getting banned away. Now Camille's gone as well, taking his top lane picks. Yet Gnar is available for Splyce. That's going to be the pick, surely.
Okay, so that top lane, that could be Chachi getting himself pushed in a little bit once that Gnar starts to get up to speed. Splyce still have one more ban to spend, though. The question is, what do they do with it? Banning away the Ahri. Now what? Let's see. It's going to be the Victor. So they banned out a couple of mid laners, but not necessarily the ones you suspect.
Yeah, taking away Exileh's Victor. Vlad would be one pick here if they wanted to go mid lane on their first pick and then try and get an AD carry. I think if they go AD here, it's probably the safer bet. That Varus, the Caitlyn, the Ezreal, everything's still available for them.
Yes, indeed. There's still lots of options for these Unicorns. They know what the mid lane is. They can counterpick it either in this rotation or another. Looks like they're going to lock the Lucian for Samux once again. He definitely made it work last time around, went unkilled, and dished out a heaping helping of damage.
Absolutely. Samux picking up something a little different than we'd seen out of him in weeks gone by. Will it be Kobbe's return to Kalista? Saw it in splits gone by.
Boy.
With that Malzahar, you can throw him in.
Locked.
It is locked in, and now we get to see what the top lane matchup into Rumble. It's going to be the Kennen for lane dominance.
Okay, so Wunder says, all right, the last game blip on the radar, let me try it again. He's going to be taking little Ninja Yordle up in the top side, but the front line here, it's going to be a lot of it's on Trashy this time around.
So looking for that mid lane pick up against the Orianna. Is it going to be a scaling mid laner here with the Vladimir? Obviously makes a lot of sense. Hard to bully Orianna out earlier on in the game.
Yeah, it's locked. So, Exileh, comfortable for him. Chachi, there's a lot of magic damage between those two, but Xerxe also has some. And we talked about lack of front lines. Well, Unicorns don't have much of one either. They're just going to have to shuffle a lot of aggression. Yeah,
but I like what the Unicorns have got here. You've got Lucian for some sense of early game. You've got Rumble as well, Vlad. Everything for the Unicorns screams quite a lot of team fighting prowess here, whereas Splyce have the same. Well, going to be an interesting one, the ball delivery system. Put it on the Malzahar, throw him in with the Kalista ultimate. Shockwave comes through.
Yeah, and not to mention you've got a whole lot of CC up in the top side. Splyce have a pretty deadly wombo of a combo, but the Unicorns have shown that they have been able to dance the two-step pretty well, and this is going to be a really, really hefty team fight. I don't think we'll have to wait too long. Started a little bit slow in game one, but when the teams turned on the pressure, there was nothing else but just to fight and fight and fight again.
Been lots of skirmishes in this game, and this doesn't look any different based on these compositions. We're not going for split push so much this game. Yes, Kennen can do that, but look at the team fight out of both teams here.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens when they clash head-to-head one more time. I'm asking you guys, let us know who you think is going to take victory. It is the decider match. Both teams laying out their compositions, laying it all on the line, trying to get the best playoff seed they possibly can. It's Splyce, it's Unicorns. Let's see who takes it.
In a minute, we got to pause.
Ah, jinxed it.
Yeah, hopefully won't be too long.
All right.
Just the anticipation. The anticipation is real. Getting into this game 3 in a couple of minutes' time. So,
take a step back and we'll just evaluate how we got here, right? Splyce fired off in game 1. They were able to take a big victory over the Unicorns, and that was honestly maybe not the most surprising thing, but Unicorns hadn't lost a game in several weeks and hadn't lost a match, and just up until they were up against Misfits, but crushing H2K the following week, and honestly looking like they were having an easier time even if they had focused more on the later stages of play. Splyce shown that they could match them even in the mid and late game.
Yeah, exactly. Unicorns had looked fantastic. Splyce had been on the up and up as well. So this really is that clash of two teams that have been doing well at the same time, matching off against each other. We've got a couple more of those this week. The G2 Roccat series, that's
you go like 4 weeks ago and you think, oh yeah, okay, not going to worry about that matchup. That's not really a big deal, right? Well, now it's insane. Like, there are so many important matches for playoffs coming up this week.
And this is still one of them. We've got one game between these two teams now, and obviously Unicorns, a win here makes it real difficult for H2K. They would have to rely on Vitality beating the Unicorns of Love, and then H2K winning all of their series without dropping games. So many implications coming from this game, and we're about to get into it, Pyra. I'm ready. Are you ready?
Born ready, Stress. Let's see. I think crowd's pretty ready, too. We're getting into game 3. Don't let that number fool you. Splyce, Unicorns. It's the decider.
Fans have been vehemently in favor of Unicorns this entire time. Love Hurt's crew are in the house, making a lot of noise, letting you know they're there.
Yep. See it on the fan vote, too. The Unicorns definitely a crowd favorite, crowd pleasers with the way they've been playing it out. But Splyce are not lacking for some flashy plays. It is always nice to see these two teams going head-to-head. Neither of them are really going to go down without a fight, and it's nice to see that happen in the European LCS.
And again, we got to look at that top lane matchup. The Kennen, Cull start into the Rumble. I mean, Wunder's going to reach a point where he can trade heavily into Vizicsacsi and basically win the side lane. And then Chachi gets pushed in. It's difficult for Chachi to move back out and then has to TP into team fights.
But there's a wild card, and his name is Xerxe.
Yes.
That's the thing. It was never a true 1v1. That Rengar was all over the map last time.
And that's where the Kennen in the composition fell down. Unicorns forced a play style onto Splyce that their composition could not handle. That Kennen was not in a position to team fight. He wanted the 1v1 against Vizicsacsi the whole game long. And Xerxe was like, no, 2v1 or your team fight. Those are your options.
All right. So what's Wunder going to do different this time around? Still expect him to be going that AD build, trying to side push, but How is he going to make the difference in the team fights?
I think this time it's going to be less focused on like Sencux moving to the other lane and pushing out as well. Like Orianna does do that, but it's going to be harder for Unicorns to force the fight on Splyce in the mid lane or wherever the rest of Splyce is sitting. I think that should be a little trickier to pull off with this Shockwave, with the Kalista ultimate, all of these kind of things.
Well, I have to keep an eye on it for sure. Remember, Wunder, he did have an option to pick the Gnar up, so he clearly trusts in his Kennen.
Yeah, Gnar even got a little buff on this patch as well, 7.6, that if we see Gnar we'll end up touching on. But you can see Kalista is making her way back into the meta in the bottom lane. One of the big changes was to do with the Rend stacks. Even after you Rend, you can still stack up spears. You can see what Kobbe does is throw out a couple more auto attacks, get a couple more spears. He can Rend again. As soon as it's available, you just keep on Rending.
Yeah, I mean, we heard you guys, right? We heard you like spears, so we just kept giving you more.
Just don't buff Nidalee. That's fine.
Not that kind of spear.
I'm fine without those kind of spears.
We've still seen a game or two of it, but you can thank Broxa for that one. That was a whole nother story, though. Mikyx going on a roam, comes right back after he puts the ward down. Both these supports really do like roaming around, but it was a lot of playmaking in the mid, games 1 and 2. We'll see if that happens, if that continues again. Mikyx back on this Malzahar.
Oh, he's waiting for the cooldown. Nice Kobbe. Because that's the mechanic that a lot of people always forget about on Kalista. You stack the spears, you throw the Q through, and if you kill him with the Q, the spears go into the target behind, as long as it lines up properly, and you can see he just tags on Samux.
Yep. Samux might be hard pressed to do the same thing. Yeah. It's good to see Kalista back. Nice to see some AD carry difference. I was getting sick of the Jhin Varus every game. Stress?
Yeah, me too. Nerf him into oblivion, I say.
That's what to do. Apparently that's the answer. Mikyx's going on a roaming again. This time he finds a Scryer's Bloom. He'll also run into Xerxe, but he's busy on the Gromp right now, and that's about all he's going to see.
Yeah, you can see that Mikyx putting the Scryer's Bloom down towards that tri-bush, trying to sweep out any kind of wards, and spot out Rengar is the key one. If Rengar sat in that bush, you get that vision. Because you can see how good Xerxe has been on this Rengar. 6 wins, 1 loss in this split, and really it's one of the picks that has helped him make a name for himself coming in from the TCL, the Turkish League. A lot of people didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Rengar being one of his most played champions, he's come up so big on the Ivern, also putting an appearance, and the guy's got a champion Ocean too, which is not something we always see from newer players, but it fits so well into the Unicorns of Love style because he's certainly not the only one. You look at the likes of Vizicsacsi at Exileh, even Samux surprising pulling out the Lucian today.
And I think that's a really interesting fact when you look at it is when players come into the scene, normally it's up out of Challenger, and you say, okay, well, what experience have they got? Coming in from the TCL is actually a benefit to Xerxe. He's got a lot of experience in a competitive league that isn't just Challenger with a handful of teams. So he has already kind of done the groundwork on being a pro player, and we've seen the rise of a lot of the regions outside of what are dubbed the major regions. So the likes of, you know, Brazil, Turkey, the CIS region, how well they've done in recent years. There are players like Xerxe in there that are doing so well and can do so very well on a stage like this that I'm glad to see at the end of the split, Xerxe has done very well and has led the Unicorns to potentially a playoff bye into the semi-finals.
And for the first time in their history, they always make the playoffs, but well, could be very much better this time around. Exileh is going to have to burn his flashes. Trashy and Sencux on top of him. It's first blood, quickly picked up by Sencux.
Just as we're talking about one jungler, the other jungler shows up in mid lane. Trashy comes through. Sencux ends up picking up the kill from that, and Exileh a little too far forward. Flash was used, couldn't keep himself alive, and that's what Splyce needed. They needed to get this ball rolling and punish the Unicorns of Love.
Well, Sencux didn't get the ball rolling exactly. He just smacked it into Exileh's face. Ghost was on. He was able to chase him down pretty easy, and you know, Orianna's not a champion that needs to snowball ahead, but kill doesn't hurt.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just gets you a little further forward. Sencux wasn't even level 6 for that gank, neither was Exileh, so it was a well-timed one out of Trashy, knowing they had the damage in order to pick up that kill. And again, very common. Supports now coming up towards the mid lane, putting the control wards down. This is one thing that doesn't really work so well in solo queue off the first back, but you can almost set your clock to it in professional play. First recall, support heads mid, puts a control ward down, then you go back bot lane.
Yes, indeed. Seen it time and time again. To be fair, in solo queue, the moment you do that, your AD carry starts raging at you, in my experience.
No, they die under tower somehow, because
then the rage, I missed the step, sorry.
Yeah.
But we haven't actually seen Hylissang matching this roaming just yet in this game. Mikyx has been the one doing it. You see the control wards. You see earlier on he was able to get a ward placed in the jungle and spot out Xerxe. But Hylissang himself has actually kept it a lot closer to the bottom lane, and now they've gone up top.
This is an oldie but a goodie out of the Unicorns of Love, bringing their bot lane off first recall here. And again, Lucian with the double tap is going to be able to cut through that tower quite quickly. Trashy now zones away Wunder. And Splyce is slower on the push. They have Graves and Orianna top here. They're going to try and defend. Will they go all in off this? Shockwave is up. So Unicorns get pushed back and didn't get the tower damage that they were looking for. This is a backfire on this play out of the Unicorns. Splyce should get bot.
Yeah, and you can already see a teleport coming in for Wunder here. He's going to help them get it. It's going to be matched by Trashy, but ooh, he didn't cancel that one. Throws the equalizer. Might give his life, though. And they go in on him. The exhaust is down 1v3. Trashy's not getting out of that alive. Wunder claims a kill, but Unicorns, they're trying to trade this back for first tower blood.
Oh, they're trying. Can they get it? It should be quite close between the two. Actually, Unicorns way out in front on that push. So they get the extra gold. There were no minions available for Splyce in the bot lane. They get first blood in the mid lane, then get the tower, the kill in bot lane, tower dies top lane. I'm all over the place. Splyce, 2 kills. Unicorns got the tower first.
Yeah, Unicorns were all over the place too, though, and making the sacrifice to get themselves that first tower blood, but Splyce is still going to be able to trade it back, and they have themselves a pretty decent gold lead, courtesy of those 2 kills as well.
And despite Trashy kind of throwing his life at the situation and being like, I'll just die and stop the push, it does give some sort of benefit to Unicorns slightly, but Trashy used ult, used flash, used TP, used everything and ended up dying for it. And you can see the Splyce are ahead because of these plays out on the map. And Unicorns of Love a little bit without a paddle for now. No TP, no teamfight ultimate for a little while, and Unicorns are going to try and make a play on mid against an Orianna, who, if she needs to, will just shockwave the minions, dissonance, and they're dead.
Not a whole lot that the Unicorns can do. They need some time before they're comfortable in these team fights. There's definitely a lot of scaling, courtesy of Exileh, but that's still a ways off, and they definitely want to force the mid-game team fights more than anything else. Dragons, this game, definitely not going to be quite as impactful early on because it is the Cloud, so they don't need to fight over it just yet. Let's see what Samux does.
That's the Scar award. Didn't quite get it.
I wasn't sure what you were getting at.
It was control awarded anyway, so it's not like Hilly would have been able to do it. But now he can move in and take out the control ward. Careful for Vizicsacsi top lane here. He needs to cut the wave with the ult. And he does. Because that's a big stack of minions. Yeah, now he should be fine. Should be safe.
They're not all going down, but most of them get melted away. Kobbe's only going to get a shot or 2 on tower before he has to back out of range. And Vizicsacsi knows exactly what's up. Meanwhile, though, the duo lane of the Unicorns back on bot lane duty, and they're unopposed for now, with only Wunder coming back in after they'd zoned him away with the Zilean bombs.
Yeah, and this is the difficulty now. Kennen, based on his auto attack range, while for top lane it's significant, against AD carries you do have to concede a lot of space, and it means that defensive play under the tower is very difficult without going all in with Kennen, and with no flash available and an ult that isn't going to do much damage in the early game. Unicorns know they can push up to the tower, keep Wunder there, and now they move into the mid lane, into the river, just try and get as much control over the map as they can.
But Splyce are still able to match him point for point, and a lot of it's been off the back of Trashy, helping out, starting in the mid lane in this game 3, and it just hasn't been matched as well by Xerxe. He's honestly been 1 or 2 steps behind, trying to get in position just after the play happens.
Hylissang trying to battle now with the Voidlings just being annoying there. Unicorns were trying to set up a play, but Splyce had a ward and knew that Unicorns were sitting around. So we've kind of got a little slower in this game because Splyce are trying to match Kennen against Rumble. They're trying to push with Kobbe in the other lane because without Rumble there, Splyce can theoretically push up, but they're leaving mid lane open.
Shockwave for Sencux, and now he's getting dove down by Hylissang and Exileh. Bombs are on. Exileh's trying to finish the job with the Hemoplague, and he will get it, pulling out. Meanwhile, Xerxe in a 1v2 gets Trashy really low before flashing and goes through the hunt, gets himself invisible. That's 1 kill picked up by the Unicorns.
And this is from Kobbe being in the bot lane. We'll see whether they go aggressive here. They do have a lot of ultimates.
But Xerxe tags his way in. Into the nether grasp he goes, though, and there's a red carpet laid out by Vizicsacsi, and Splyce are not feeling welcome. They're backed out under tower.
Yeah, Splyce used the Kalista ultimate as well, and Unicorns of Love are just healthy enough that Kobbe didn't really want to go aggressive with Mikyx there, and Unicorns back away. Good start to this game out of the Unicorns. They're ahead in this side lane on the Rumble. They've got a little bit of a farm lead. despite Wunder obviously getting that kill. It's enough for the Unicorns to be happy right now.
Trashy steals away the Gromp too.
A little behind, but they've got this Vlad to scale later on into the game. Splyce have to continue dealing a lot of damage. So Sencux hits Samux with the ult, and a lot of the minions die because of that shockwave. From there, Sencux knows he's dead. No real way of surviving, and the Unicorns are able to pick apart the rest of Splyce. Even with the re-engage coming through, Splyce don't have enough damage yet.
They definitely need a little bit of time to themselves as well. And, well, Sencux, no summoners available for him. Currently sitting at that level 10, but he has the Morellonomicon, can still dish the damage, especially with that shockwave coming close off a cooldown. But the rest of Unicorns will not wait. Samux, he's got himself the Blade of the Ruin King. Not quite matched yet by Kobbe because he went for the boots.
The difficulty here is if Splyce don't create more pressure bot lane, the same thing is going to keep happening to Sencux. There's no flash now, which means Unicorns of Love may just come out of nowhere with this Rengar and jump on Sencux and kill it.
Just like they did last game.
Yeah, exactly. And then they take mid lane. That's where the focus would be, because look, Malzahar's been spotted bot side. Kalista's been spotted bot side, and while that is useful for pushing onto the tower, it means they can't group around Sencux in time.
Unfortunately for them. However, they're going to try to collapse into the mid, see if they can force Unicorns off. For now, they are able to do it. The game still remains tense, very close. Only 3 kills on the game. At 13 minutes in, Splyce are looking to add to that count, though. Trashy and Mikyx around the side, spotted by the ward of Xerxe.
I don't think they're going to get the dive off here. Sencux, oh, looks for the shockwave.
Okay, Dash is out of harm's way, and they're out of minions.
That's a Lucian that still has his flash as well. Not going to shockwave that Lucian very easily. Sencux now no ultimate available. It's a Cloud Drake, so nobody really cares about it right now. Sad to say, but is the case. So it's back and forth on mid lane pushes for now.
Chachi, he's been in between the top and the mid for a while, but he's waiting.
Equalizer. Wunder's top lane.
They've got him here. Let's see if they dive the tower. In goes Exileh straight into the nether grasp with Mikyx, but meanwhile, they have the damage to finish the job. Mikyx's going to be the first to fall, and he will not be the last. It is Trashy going down. Wunder trying to get some damage back. Exileh is going to be able to pull out. Chachi did get taken out. It's a 1-for-2 trade in favor of the Unicorns.
Important pull from Exileh. Dodges one of those last auto attacks that maybe would have killed him, but Wunder TPs to this engage. It looked late. We'll have to check again on the replay how late into the fight it actually was, but Splyce, they're getting forced into fights by this Unicorns team despite playing a composition that at least the top laner wants to just be out in the side lane. Again, the Unicorns of Love pull him into the fight. Now Unicorns have TP advantage, so they can do the same thing again, and they get the mid tower. This is the Unicorns playing a smarter game strategically than Splyce.
It's getting them some benefits right now. 600 is only the gold lead, but it's a tower advantage now, and let's see how it all began here.
So honestly, as soon as this comes out, that TP needs to start from Wunder. He needs to be already here, but it's about 2 to 3 seconds late on the fight. And I don't even know whether he would have been able to do enough when he's in this fight. Samux maybe would have been locked down in the mid lane. Couldn't quite get the kill on Exileh because of the pool, but it's difficult. It's so tough for this Kennen to have an impact because this is not the play style that Splyce want to be playing. Unicorns are just imposing their will on Splyce time and time again, and it's getting difficult to play around.
Yeah, and the reaction time, need to be able to have it a little bit quicker on that teleport. And we did talk about how Splyce have a much better team fighting composition this time around because they have so many tools to combo up. They have the Kalista, they have the Malzahar, and importantly, they have the Orianna. But when Gnar was available, we got to start asking the question, why did Wunder opt into this Kennen if he wasn't going to be able to effectively side push as much?
So, again, I think Gnar would have been in the same situation. Like, I actually think this isn't champion dependent right now. They have a very similar playstyle, but Unicorns are doing a good job of punishing Wunder. Well, it's Chachi getting punished now.
You can take the blast cone, but unfortunately the Ren stacks go with you, and Kobbe gets his first kill of the game.
And this is actually the inverse now. Exileh was on the bottom lane. Splyce forced to fight onto the TP user. Chachi was in the jungle, got caught, gets taken down. Now Wunder has the time. Like, this is where Wunder wants to be. He's like, I've got nobody in front of me. I don't even care whether there was a rumble here. I'm just going to push the tower.
Yep, should be able to do some damage to it, though, with 5 seconds. Chachi coming up. We'll see if he ends up teleporting in to try and save it, or if he hangs on to the TP. As Wunder, leading the minions, fires away up top.
He should hold on to the TP, because that's going to be important the later this game goes, or at least for the next minute or so, where Wunder's not got his available, is when Wunder and Trashy end up TPing into fights. Because Trashy, if he TPs into a fight, should have a big impact. The most Wunder can do, stun a couple of people, try and have Kobbe and Sencux actually clean up the fight, and maybe Wunder can get the autos off too. He's building, obviously, very offensively. Here comes the engaged bot side. Wunder's no TP.
Oh, and there's the Hemo play gone. Kobbe's got nowhere to go. He's got no flash, and Xerxe got chunked really far down. But Hylissang was there to keep him alive with the Chrono Shift, and now he's just got to get out of harm's way before Sencux comes right back on in. Ghost was popped, but he's not able to get the chase down.
Only a matter of time before they clean the turret up at the end of this fight, and you can see Trashy did not need to TP because Splyce had the numbers disadvantage under the tower. Unicorns knew they could get that kill and get out, but Splyce hold the gold lead for now. It's a very small one, but they've been absorbing some farm here and there. You can see Wunder a little bit ahead, Kalista a little ahead, and it's enough to just edge them past this gold lead.
Yep. See how it started one more time. Exileh making a show of force, but the rest of the Unicorns were coming in hot.
Yeah, Exileh a little frustrated he didn't pop that shield on Malzahar with the first E. Ended up getting it before using the Hemo Plague, and Splyce held on for just long enough that they could take Xerxe down, but Zig's ultimate comes out. Zilean ultimate comes out and is able to keep him alive. Unicorns doing well on that dive. Splyce fighting back in other areas, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you mentioned the gold lead, too, because it's really how we've seen that go the last couple of games. In the early game, despite a lot of trades, the gold's been very close throughout this series until it breaks wide open, when either Splyce or Unicorns have been able to find those big advantages and start forcing the other onto the back foot. Yeah,
it's been that first Baron of the game ends in both situations. That's because a lot of the time they've had these pushing style, like whether it was in game one, it wasn't the Kennen, it was the Gragas they had. It was causing chaos in fights.
That was Splyce. Wunder's best game this series, I think. It was. I mean, he was really doing a lot of work on that. He was sticking to everybody on the Unicorn side and setting up so many big fights while being able to be a big frontliner.
You know what I think this is? This is Splyce trying to hide the fact that they want to flex Gragas in every single game by being like, no, let's not do that a week before playoffs. Let's not have everybody ban Gragas in every single game against us, because both Wunder and Trashy are good on it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're like, let's just show other things. Let's show them how good the Kennen is, and maybe we'll get bans on that.
Using the series as a mind game, right? Okay, Unicorns, they're heading their way up top. Splyce are going to try to walk it out here. Let's see if they get away with Xerxe, thrill the hunt, teleport from Trashy. They're going all in on this. Oh, it's being matched by Wunder. Okay. Xerxe stopped up, nether grasp there, but Exileh out of the brushes and see if they can finish off Kobbe. It looks like it, but there's so many spears inside of him, it doesn't even matter. But meanwhile, Wunder's able to start cleaning up a little bit. Trashy is isolated though. Let's see if he gets taken down. Vizicsacsi a little low. Mikyx trying to zone. This is not over yet right now, and Exileh gets taken out by Sencux, flashing and pulling in on the shockwave. Samux is alone. And I don't know if he's going to stay alive here. He dashes back to the safety of tower, but Splyce can keep on going, looking for Wunder. Blade of the Rune King. Wait, Blade of the Rune King on the AD carry side, I should say. Gets him out of harm's way faster.
Yeah, didn't end up getting that in time to get the last kill, but Splyce lose their AD carry to start this off. Wunder says, don't worry, I've got this. I'm basically an AD carry too. Channels is in a Reckless and tries to Kennen his way through a fight, and Wunder is able to output enough damage. The rest of Splyce in a very spread out fight. You can see it starts in favor of Unicorns. The TP comes in first. They shut Xerxe down immediately in this fight and lock him in place. Then Kobbe tries to stay alive. From here, Wunder's like, okay, I'm the AD carry now, and is able to deal damage down. Samux gets rooted out of the fight by Sencux pushing him away. Trashy low health, Exileh losing a lot of health as well, and between the two damage dealers left on Splyce, they're able to easily deal with the rest of the Unicorns. And Samux, as you said, only the Blade of the Rune King really saving him from this one. Gets that dash away, level up in the meantime as well.
Yep.
Everything saving Samux.
Wunder dishing out a lot of damage, even on this AD Kennen now, and going for, as you said, an offensive build, but also having some sustain for himself. When we switch back to items, you'll see he's picked himself up a Frozen Mallet. So he's definitely not the squishiest of Yordles right about now.
All about making sure whoever is out on the side lane can't get away from him. He already has enough crowd control in there anyway. Why not throw in a slow on the auto attacks? But that's the thing. It's like, this AD Kennen build can, quote-unquote, team fight. In the sense, if there are people to auto-attack and he's not dying, he will put out a lot of damage. However, if the enemy team gets like a Hemo Plague, jump on him with a Rengar, put down an Equalizer, everything like that, he's not going to survive through it. He won't have anything like his Zhonya's, but you can see Wunder has a lot of damage.
Well, I mean, he just let Kobbe be the bait, right?
Yeah.
Hides himself in the brush,
exactly.
Kobbe goes down like, surprise, here I go. They teleported in a little bit after the fact. So still a very close game, but Splyce have started to open the goalie a little bit, even though it's 8-7 in kills. 22 minutes now on the clock right now. Unicorns, they're trying to push the wave in the mid. Another dragon will be up. It's Cloud, though, so not a huge point of contention. Unicorns, they picked up the first one a while ago.
Yeah, it's going to allow them to obviously move between the fights. This Rengar can fly at you. Light speed. Not warp 10, though. That's dangerous. Unicorns of Love pushing through this mid tower. Splyce trying to react, cutting down behind them. Sencux is low.
Shockwave. They're going to get the shutdown. It's actually Hylissang that claims the kill credit. Exileh dangerously low here, and Yamato is not happy with how this is going at the moment. Bombs on, Wunder's caught, the Unicorns, the gang squad's arrived, and there's nowhere for him to go but back to Fountain.
Splyce, the rest of the team arrive, and the fight's already over. Wunder and Sencux have both already fallen, and now the Unicorns can turn their attention over to a dragon, over to that bot lane tower, and get everything. And this is all based on the fact that Splyce were looking like they were setting up a top lane play on the inhibitor tower. And I kind of have that inflection in my voice where I'm questioning it because you didn't kill anyone and they were trying to establish vision control. Didn't really pan out for themselves. Maybe they were looking for a catch on Trashy, translate that into a tower kill. There was no one there. Unicorns were getting the kill on the bottom side of the map.
Well, when you've had a hectic series and you're 1-1, sometimes you can lose a little bit of that crisp decision-making and question yourselves a little bit, try to make the wrong play. Let's see how it unfolds as Sencux look to defend.
Look at the mini-map. Look at how far Splyce are up into the jungle. Like, are they really doubting that Unicorns of Love are going to make a play on mid lane? The one thing Unicorns have shown us in this series is they know how to destroy and distort this composition style out of Splyce. Ooh. They did it in game 2. They've done it again, and we're into a fight.
Okay, Hylissang, he melts before the start of it, but he did have his own ultimate on. Exileh right in the middle of it all as Splyce are trying desperately to get out of harm's way again, but Trashy is leading the charge, overheating as his game just keeps on being hot. Exileh can't finish off Trashy. Wunder can't do a damn thing to stop the tower from going down. Unicorns are going to break open inner tower, and they're heading for the Baron.
Yeah, they're going to get this Baron as well, unless Trashy can do something about it, but he's all the way back in base. Unicorns, they've got the Blade of the Ruined King Black Cleaver. Samux has looked so good on this Lucian as well. And Unicorns have looked great as a unit. I was questioning Exileh's comments about being a strong strategical team, and boy, have they shown that they are a strong strategical team up against this Splyce lineup. They have completely distorted any sense of split push. Sencux gets flashed on, slowed. Hylissang ulted himself. This time it's fine because Sencux is already dead by the time the rest of the team arrive. And Unicorns just marched through this fight. Wunder didn't ever get to this fight in time. Couldn't do anything. Unicorns have played this out beautifully.
Showing that they are the better team fighting team, and well, I guess you're right, Stress. You definitely can't kill you in the Zilean, not when he goes in knowing what's about to happen. Big Baron buff now, 3 minutes to work with on the Unicorns of Love squad, and they've turned the gold in their favor. Let's see if they can keep on marching this lead as their attention turns bot side.
First Baron basically was the death knell of both first and second game. We'll see whether Unicorns can close it out in that same kind of time period. These have been comparatively fast games to an average game time. So both teams been trying to just rush it down as soon as they can.
Decisive play, especially early on in this series. It feels like it's been a big one just because there's been so many kills on the board and they just are not letting up the gas pedal. Unicorns continuing to siege down to half health on this inner tower.
The hope for Splyce is they have a team fight with a big shockwave. Kobbe survives through it and just gets rend after rend after rend on people as this game goes longer and longer. There's a Hurricane. They've got nearly a Blade of the Ruined King on Wunder as well. So there is a lot of damage in extended fights. If Unicorns don't win the fight quickly, Splyce can turn it back around.
That is true, and we haven't seen Splyce make use of the big combo potential. Kobbe hasn't tossed in Mikyx for a big play like that, ball delivery on top of him. It's still risky because of how squishy that Malzahar is, but You preempt it, you can try to get the setup, it's good. Unicorns, the issue for Splyce, it has been, they're just so they're just so slippery to get away from these things.
It's also a way of rescuing Mikyx if Mikyx flash nether grasps, right? If he extends forward, they get the kill very quickly and pull back the Malzahar. That's another way of utilizing that, but we haven't seen that one either out of Mikyx. There's a lot they can do, but they are behind. Splyce realize that if they want any hope of being first, or at least like contending for second place and getting that better seeding in playoffs, they desperately need a win.
Yep. Well, they're losing towers right now, and this Baron buff has definitely come up pretty big for the Unicorns of Love, who are pretty happy. Management standing by in the back, and maybe a bit of a stumbling block in game one, but Unicorns are looking to reverse the sweep.
The mad scientist at work. Cheapy. At least I'm assuming it's Cheapy. He's been the constant along with Trashy and Hylissang.
Yeah,
so,
there's always been something a little bit different about how the Unicorns like to operate, though, and you can't take that away from it. It works often as not.
And I think the best thing about it is they still have somewhat of that edge of unpredictability, right? Where they do have these picks that nobody else is playing, but they have playstyles that make it work. They have ways of putting things together that a lot of teams aren't looking at. And base that with good strategy, like this series that we've seen out of them, and that makes a very difficult team to plan for in a best of 5. Teams over the last 2 years have said, I don't want to play Unicorns in a best of 5, because you end up running out of options. This Unicorns is a lot more scary to play against in a best of 5, and whoever draws them in the playoffs has to do a lot of research and be careful of the things they can come out with.
Oh yes, Unicorns looking scarier and scarier, but you know, when you talk about unpredictability in the pick and ban phase, Splyce is honestly the other team that comes to mind. They were the ones to bring out the top Fizz last week, and we saw them invent the you know, Camille Ziggs Boom Tomb combo. They've done a lot of interesting things as well. It just seems like they're not quite as crisp as the Unicorns in this series in executing it.
I think it's just the fact that I think this composition against a team that doesn't understand how to beat it will do very well. But the Unicorns have proved they understand at a fundamental level how to deny Splyce their team composition strengths. And that is what is the biggest progression out of the Unicorns this split, is they have had a good fundamental understanding of how to win games. It has not all been about just scrappy team fighting. It has not been about cheesy picks. It's been about doing the fundamentals to a good level, and that has been enough to beat most teams here in Europe.
Yeah. Results speak for themselves. Unicorns trying to close the net here and close this series out. Question is, though, what can Splyce do to come back into this one? We talked about combo potential, we talked about team fightability, but Wunder maybe not as comfortable. Let's see if it changes.
He has this cross the ward. Look at Exileh going in very aggressively.
Yes, he does. They've got Hylissang locked up, Nether Grasp there. Exile's going to have to pull out, and that's the retreat path, but Exile's getting caught. There's an equalizer thrown down. Hylissang, Chrono shifts onto Exileh. He's able to get out the redemption. This is going to give them round 2 to come back in.
Splyce need to back away here and at least get health back on Trashy, Wunder, and Mikyx. If they can hold the mid lane, Sencux didn't use his ult, Kobbe did. Nether Grasp is down. The Slicing Maelstrom is down too, but Unicorns used a lot of their team fight potency as well. So Splyce have defender's advantage from that fight. Now they want to go aggressive. Oh, Shockwave whipped.
Right on top of the Zhonya's, and now Wunder, he's going low. The Unicorns realize they can charge right on in, and Mikyx gets slain by Exileh. Let's see if he can get out, though. He's got no flash, and they're trying to use him as bait. He's taken out by Trashy. Samux inside the base has to flash out, and he can't finish Trashy off.
Unicorns didn't get the tower there, which is the key thing. Yes, they get the kill onto Mikyx, but Exileh died at the same time, and Samux, he's on a trinket ward, but that doesn't really matter at this point. Unicorns of Love, a little overextending there. Had the Shockwave not whiffed, it was good Zhonya's from Trashy to dodge it out. Had the Shockwave not whiffed, that could have been a very dangerous situation. So this was the play. They catch Trashy, and as soon as that ball is in a threatening position, he's like, I have to just do this because I can sense that Shockwave is coming. Exileh ends up getting picked off after the pool, tries to QSS his way out, but it wasn't enough. This is enough for Splyce to hold on for now. It's enough for now, and you can see Exileh knows that was an opportunity, but it was a reach out of the Unicorns, and it was over-aggression.
Well, Unicorns overreached, and no one said they were immune to making mistakes as well. Splyce have held on for now, but the gold lead still in the favor of Unicorns. The tempo advantage still in the favor of Unicorns. But guess what, Stress? We're a good 15 seconds away from another Baron.
We're gonna have a second Baron.
That's a first this series.
Yeah, exactly. It's all being quick endings to the game. So we're having a little bit of a prolonged one because Splyce fight back the Unicorns now. Oh, this is game 2. Shades of game 2 again.
Okay, equalizer's on. Wunder, he's already burned his flash, and he gets a stun off onto Xerxe, but he just doesn't have the damage to contend following through. They're committing to this. Sencux is there. Can they turn this around? There's a shockwave up and available. Wunder's out.
Splyce brought backup on this one, and Sencux is enough to defend. That's the flashes down from Trashy and Xerxe. Splyce couldn't make a play down onto the Baron. Keep in mind, Wunder has also lost his flash, so there's no way of getting right on top of like an Exileh, a Samux, you know, backline threat, although Exileh will likely be running at Splyce for the majority of the fight. This Kennen lockdown is going to be less potent than it normally would be. That flash is such a key skill.
Also, what's key right now is Splyce. They've got vision control over the Baron pit. They've gotten some breathing room to clear out the side waves. You can see them heading towards this top lane to make that all happen. And you can see how this game is swung. The Unicorns opened a big advantage some time ago, but Splyce, they're still fighting.
And a lot of that was the 2 fights in the mid lane that punished Splyce. Getting the tower kill, following through with some more kills in mid lane, and Unicorns of Love. They may force Wunder's TP with a Baron bait here. The Rift Scuttle just expired. There's 1 blue trinket available. They might look for the TP and then back away from the Baron, but you can see Unicorns aren't going to commit to it yet. They know they'll end up losing mid-tower from it first if they do.
Well, Wunder tags out of the bottom lane. Trashy tags in. The ebb and flow of the minion waves this game, and it's a show of force in the mid lane. Splyce and Unicorns not opting to take the straight-up fight just yet, but Unicorns, they had secured vision control of the Baron. Splyce will have some cleaning up to do. They want to keep denying that.
Now they're going to go clear it out again. Back and forth, this one goes, but where will the Unicorns look to strike? They're looking for mid lane. They've cut Splyce away from their base for now. It's not enough to all in because they haven't got a minion wave. It's behind their mid-tower. Xerxe's just pushing it back with this ult. It's not about the engage here. They know they can't go aggressive. It's about clearing room to go back to the Baron pit and clear the vision out once again.
All right, so Trinket Ward still stands. Splyce have full knowledge of what is happening right now, and they even have a ward in the River Brush with Hylissang on an advanced position to try and push them all back. Equalizer comes in. Mikyx a little low, but the Unicorns, they've now peeled off. They secure it now. Can they stay alive for this fight? Mikyx, he flashes forward. Shockwave pulls in Samux and takes him down, but Hylissang had the chrono shift on. Sencux gets Trashy on the back half. Exile's gonna fall. The Unicorns, they need to limp away. It's a 1 for 2, but the Baron goes the way of UOL.
3 survive for the Unicorns. I want to see how quick a reaction that was from Hylissang onto Samux, whether that ult was down already. But Splyce, they're going to push from that play. They're likely going to get 2 towers if they can get into position. But Unicorns are looking with this Baron buff to try and make critical damage onto the base of Splyce. If they can get that inhibitor tower, surely in a minute's time, Unicorns of Love would be looking at just rotating around the map and closing it out. They've got a big wave of minions in the bot lane.
And Xerxe is on his way as well to try and get a return, but Splyce on the retreat path. They should be able to make their escape. Hylissang is not fast enough to catch him. And Splyce managed to get themselves 2 towers on the back half of that Baron fight, but Unicorns, they're leading the charge again.
Hylissang saw the play in his head. Oh, he's had to ult himself?
In the mid. Oh, that was
just
a little
ulted.
different.
Did somebody catch him? Sencux Shockwave is not available anymore. Looks like they may have caught him out. I was going to say, Hylissang could see the play in his mind that he was going to run forward, flash, double bomb, catch everything out. Yeah, I believe Sencux used his ult, caught Hylissang.
We'll see if we get that one back a little bit later, but all the same, 2 ultimates burned right now, and they're both going to come off cooldown in short order, but with the death timers creeping about as high as they've ever been in this series, stakes are very, very high. Unicorns looking to close this game out.
Bot lane again. This is where Unicorns are going to try and force something. There are a couple of wards off at the side, but Wunder's going to have a long trip into this. He's recalling instead.
There's the equalizer. Wunder is back, but this is going to be the tower. Unicorns, they've managed to grab it. Now, will they continue to fight? Mikyx catches Samux, but he's going to go down. No, he's pulled back in by Kobbe, but what a hemo plague by Exileh, blowing through Mikyx's health bar, and the rest of Splyce, they're routed. They have to head back to Fountain. Exileh is still still chasing the double kill. Another one for Trashy. They burn through Splyce, and that's gonna be game.
Unicorns of Love have demolished this composition from Splyce, and it's a 2-1 on the week. Is it going to be enough to hold their spot at the top of the table come the end of week 10?
Well, we'll find out, but for now, Unicorns, what a hell of a fight to close it out. It's all Nexus. GG, boys, 2-1.
Now the smiles from the Unicorns of Love team. They've been looking focused all day, all series. Now you can see how much it means. A 2-1 victory over Splyce. One more step towards locking a semi-finals bye.
Unicorns looking to make history for their organization, get themselves as far as they ever have been in the playoff seed. And I can't wait to see what happens come the playoffs. These guys are looking hot at the moment.
Yeah, Unicorns really making a name for himself this split. Must be something about the spring split. 2015, they were in the finals against Fnatic. It's been a long time since they've made any kind of a run like that.
Yep.
Will it be the 2017 spring split that they do it again? Can they get there? A semi-finals bye would be a nice start to that one.
Yeah, get themselves up a little further on, and honestly, Unicorns, they might have had to work for this victory, but they showed it every step of the way. Even in the losses, they kept it close.
Yeah. Maybe game one of the series wasn't super close for the Unicorns. At the beginning of the game, they were fighting back and forth. Splyce really punished with some good Gragas play, but you gotta respect what Unicorns of Love did to the Splyce composition, and also respect Splyce for trying it again. I know a lot of people will probably criticize that and say, hey, the Kennen didn't work the first time, why try it again?
It worked better in game 3.
Yeah, it worked better in game 3, but like honestly, I feel like this game was won because Unicorns played well, not because Splyce had a bad composition. Like, you can pick holes in it, but I think Unicorns playing up against it did so much work.
Well, and they did reveal a little bit of stuff, right? Like, we showed Samux on this Lucian was actually able to step up huge, and even up against the Kalista, like, he was coming out ahead over and over again. Like, I'm taking a look at it. He didn't die in 2 games on the Lucian and still was able to rack up a lot of kills. Like, that was a stellar performance from him, and we don't normally expect it.
Yeah, really good performance out of Samux. Can't wait to see more from him.
No, absolutely can't wait to see more from the Unicorns.